Did you know that your stress levels right now could be silently increasing your stroke risk by up to 40%? If that thought just made your heart skip a beat, you're about to discover something life-changing. Today, we're diving deep into 10 scientifically proven stress relief habits that don't just make you feel better. They literally protect your brain from one of the leading causes of disability and death worldwide. I'm not talking about quick fixes or feel-good fluff. Every single habit we'll explore today is backed by rigorous research from institutions like Harvard Medical School, the American Heart Association, and peer-reviewed studies published in journals like Stroke and the Journal of the American Medical Association. By the end of our time together, you'll have a complete toolkit to transform not just how you manage stress, but how you protect one of your most precious assets, your brain. Let's start with something that might surprise you. The connection between stress and stroke isn't just correlation, it's causation. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Stroke followed over 6,000 adults for nearly 2 decades and found that people reporting high psychological stress had a 59% higher risk of stroke compared to those with low stress levels. But here's what's fascinating. The researchers discovered that it wasn't just the presence of stress that mattered, but how people responded to it. Your brain, you see, is incredibly sophisticated, but also remarkably vulnerable. When you're stressed, your body releases a cascade of hormones, including cortisol and adrenaline. In small doses, these are helpful. They help you meet deadlines and handle emergencies. But when stress becomes chronic, these same hormones begin to damage your cardiovascular system in ways that directly increase stroke risk. Chronic stress elevates your blood pressure, increases inflammation throughout your body, promotes the formation of blood clots, and even changes how your blood vessels function. Research from the Mayo Clinic shows that people under chronic stress have significantly higher levels of C-reactive protein, a marker of inflammation that's strongly linked to stroke risk. It's like having a slow-burning fire in your cardiovascular system that gradually weakens the very pathways your brain depends on for survival. But here's the empowering truth that emerging research is revealing. Specific stress relief habits don't just make you feel calmer. They create measurable, protective changes in your brain and cardiovascular system. Let's explore these 10 habits, starting with one that might be the most powerful tool in your stress-fighting arsenal. Deep breathing isn't just relaxation advice your grandmother gave you. It's a scientifically validated intervention that can literally rewire your nervous system. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Medicine found that people who practice controlled breathing exercises for just 10 minutes daily showed significant reductions in blood pressure and cortisol levels within 4 weeks. Here's what happens when you breathe deeply. You activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your body's natural rest and digest mode. This immediately counteracts the stress response and begins to reverse many of the physiological changes that increase stroke risk. The researchers found that deep breathing specifically improved something called heart rate variability, which is a powerful predictor of cardiovascular health. The most effective technique, according to research from Harvard's Benson Henry Institute, is the 4-7-8 pattern. You inhale through your nose for 4 counts, hold your breath for 7 counts. Then exhale through your mouth for 8 counts. This specific pattern maximizes the activation of your parasympathetic nervous system and provides the greatest stress relief benefits. What makes this habit so powerful for stroke prevention is its immediate and cumulative effects. Within minutes of deep breathing, your blood pressure begins to drop, your heart rate becomes more variable and healthy, and your stress hormones start to decrease. Practice this consistently, and research shows you'll develop what scientists call stress resilience, your ability to handle future stressors without the same dramatic physiological response. The second habit that research consistently highlights is regular physical exercise, but not in the way most people think about it. A comprehensive analysis published in the journal Stroke examined data from over 600,000 participants and found something remarkable. It wasn't the intensity of exercise that mattered most for stroke prevention. It was the consistency and the type of stress relief it provided. Moderate exercise, particularly activities like brisk walking, swimming, or cycling, creates what researchers call eustress, beneficial stress, that actually strengthens your cardiovascular system while providing powerful stress relief. The American Heart Association's research shows that people who engage in just 150 minutes of moderate exercise per week reduce their stroke risk by 27%, primarily through stress reduction and improved cardiovascular function. But here's what's particularly interesting. Exercise works as a stress relief tool in multiple ways simultaneously. It reduces cortisol levels, increases the production of endorphins, which are your body's natural mood elevators, improves sleep quality, which we know is crucial for stress management, and actually grows new brain cells in areas responsible for stress regulation. A fascinating study from the University of British Columbia used brain imaging to show that regular aerobic exercise increases the size of the hippocampus, the brain area involved in memory and learning, while also strengthening the prefrontal cortex, which helps you manage stress more effectively. This means that exercise literally builds your brain's capacity to handle stress in healthier ways. The key is finding activities that you genuinely enjoy, because research shows that exercise feels less like a stressor and more like stress relief when it's something you look forward to, whether it's dancing, gardening, playing tennis, or hiking in nature. The stress relief benefits are maximized when the activity brings you joy rather than feeling like another obligation. Our third scientifically backed habit might surprise you with its simplicity: practicing gratitude. But before you dismiss this as positive thinking fluff, consider this. A study published in Applied Psychology, Health and Well-Being followed over 400 people for 6 months and found that those who kept gratitude journals showed significant reductions in inflammatory markers associated with stroke risk. The neuroscience behind gratitude is fascinating. When you actively focus on things you're grateful for, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system and reduce activity in the amygdala, your brain's alarm center. Dr. Robert Emmons from UC Davis, who's conducted extensive research on gratitude, found that people who practice gratitude regularly have lower blood pressure, reduced stress hormone levels, and improved heart rate variability. But here's what makes gratitude particularly powerful for stroke prevention. It doesn't just reduce stress in the moment, it actually changes how your brain responds to future stressors. Brain imaging studies show that people who practice gratitude regularly develop stronger connections between the prefrontal cortex and emotional regulation centers, meaning they literally become more resilient to stress over time. The most effective approach, according to research, is to write down 3 specific things you're grateful for each day, but with a twist. Focus on why you're grateful for each thing and how it made you feel. This deeper reflection maximizes the neurological benefits and creates more lasting changes in your stress response system. Sleep quality represents our 4th crucial habit. And the research connecting sleep, stress, and stroke risk is absolutely compelling. The Nurses' Health Study, which followed over 70,000 women for 10 years, found that those getting less than 6 hours of sleep nightly had a 63% higher risk of stroke. But it wasn't just sleep duration that mattered, it was sleep quality and how well sleep helped them recover from daily stress. When you don't get adequate quality sleep, your body produces more cortisol and inflammatory compounds while producing less of the hormones that help repair cardiovascular damage. Research from the University of Chicago shows that even one night of poor sleep can increase inflammatory markers by up to 25%. Imagine the cumulative effect of months or years of inadequate sleep on your stroke risk. What's particularly important for stress management is understanding that sleep and stress create a vicious cycle. Stress makes it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep, while poor sleep makes you more reactive to stress the next day. Breaking this cycle requires what researchers call sleep hygiene practices that specifically target both sleep quality and stress reduction. The most effective approach, according to sleep researchers, involves creating a wind-down routine that begins 60 to 90 minutes before bed. This might include dimming lights, avoiding screens, practicing gentle stretching or meditation, and keeping your bedroom cool and dark. Research shows that people who follow consistent bedtime routines fall asleep faster, sleep more deeply, and wake up with lower cortisol levels. Our 5th habit draws from centuries of wisdom, but is now backed by extensive modern research: meditation and mindfulness practices. A landmark study published in the American Journal of Hypertension found that people who practice transcendental meditation for just 20 minutes twice daily reduced their stroke risk by an astounding 47% over 5 years. But you don't need to learn specific meditation techniques to gain these benefits. Research from Massachusetts General Hospital using brain imaging showed that people who practiced simple mindfulness meditation for just 8 weeks developed measurable changes in brain areas associated with stress regulation, emotional control, and self-awareness. Here's what happens when you meditate regularly. Your brain literally rewires itself to handle stress more effectively. The amygdala, your brain's stress alarm, becomes less reactive, while the prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thinking and emotional regulation, becomes stronger and more active. This means that over time, you become naturally less reactive to stressful situations. The most accessible form of meditation for beginners is mindfulness of breathing. Simply sit comfortably, close your eyes, and focus your attention on your breath without trying to change it. When your mind wanders, and it will gently return your attention to your breath. Research shows that even 10 minutes of daily practice provides measurable stress reduction benefits within 2 weeks. Social connections represent our 6th vital habit, and the research here is particularly powerful. The Harvard study of adult development, which has followed participants for over 80 years, found that people with strong social relationships had 50% lower risk of stroke and significantly better stress management throughout their lives. But it's not just having people around you, it's the quality of those connections and how they help you process stress. Research from Carnegie Mellon University found that people with diverse social networks had lower levels of inflammatory markers and better cardiovascular health, primarily because social connections provide emotional support that helps buffer the effects of stress. Interestingly, studies show that both giving and receiving social support provide health benefits. When you help others or feel supported by others, your body releases oxytocin, a hormone that directly counteracts stress hormones and promotes cardiovascular health. This is why volunteering, maintaining close friendships, and being part of communities all show similar protective effects against stroke. The key is cultivating relationships that feel genuinely supportive rather than stressful. Research indicates that toxic or demanding relationships can actually increase stress and stroke risk. While nurturing relationships provide powerful protection, focus on deepening connections with people who make you feel valued, understood, and supported. Our 7th habit involves spending time in nature, and the research supporting this is remarkably consistent across cultures and populations. A study published in Environmental Research followed over 100,000 people and found that those living in greener areas had significantly lower rates of stroke, primarily through reduced stress levels and improved mental health. The Japanese practice of forest bathing, or Shinrin-yoku, has been extensively studied, with research showing that spending time in forests reduces cortisol levels, lowers blood pressure, and boosts immune function. But you don't need access to forests to gain these benefits. Studies show that even viewing nature through windows, tending to houseplants, or spending time in urban parks provides measurable stress reduction. What's fascinating is that nature seems to provide stress relief in ways that other environments don't. Research suggests that natural environments capture our attention in a gentle, effortless way that allows our stress response systems to recover. The sounds, sights, and smells of nature activate the parasympathetic nervous system and promote the release of mood-enhancing neurotransmitters. Try to incorporate nature into your daily routine, even in small ways. This might mean eating lunch outside, walking in a park, gardening, or simply sitting by a window with a view of the trees or sky. Research shows that even 20 minutes in nature provides significant stress relief benefits. Nutrition represents our 8th crucial habit, specifically focusing on foods that support your brain's ability to manage stress while protecting against stroke. Research from the American Heart Association shows that people following Mediterranean-style diets have 13% lower stroke risk, largely due to foods that reduce inflammation and support healthy stress responses. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel, are particularly important. Studies show that people with higher omega-3 levels have lower cortisol responses to stress and reduced inflammatory markers. The anti-inflammatory effects of omega-3s directly protect blood vessels and reduce stroke risk. Dark leafy greens, berries, and other foods high in antioxidants help your body manage the oxidative stress that occurs during the stress response. Research from Harvard shows that people eating the most antioxidant-rich foods have significantly lower rates of stroke and better stress resilience. Magnesium-rich foods like nuts, seeds, and whole grains support your nervous system's ability to relax and recover from stress. Studies indicate that magnesium deficiency makes people more reactive to stress and increases cardiovascular risk. Even mild magnesium supplementation has been shown to reduce anxiety and improve stress management. The timing of your eating also matters for stress management. Research shows that skipping meals or eating irregularly increases cortisol production and makes you more reactive to stress. Eating regular, balanced meals helps maintain stable blood sugar levels, which supports better stress resilience throughout the day. Our ninth habit focuses on creative expression and engaging hobbies, areas where research is revealing surprising connections to stroke prevention. A study published in the Journal of Health Psychology found that people who regularly engaged in creative activities had lower cortisol levels, reduced inflammation, and better cardiovascular health markers. Whether it's painting, music, writing, crafting, or any other creative pursuit, these activities provide what researchers call flow states periods, where you become fully absorbed in an activity and temporarily forget about stressors. Brain imaging studies show that during flow states, areas of the brain associated with stress and anxiety become less active, while regions associated with focus and well-being become more engaged. Learning new skills also provides powerful stress relief benefits while protecting brain health. Research from the University of Texas found that older adults who learned challenging new skills like photography or quilting showed improved cognitive function and reduced stress markers compared to those who engaged in less mentally demanding activities. The key is finding activities that genuinely interest you and provide a sense of accomplishment or joy. Research shows that hobbies feel most stress-relieving when they're intrinsically motivated, done for enjoyment rather than external pressure or achievement. Our final habit brings everything together, developing what researchers call stress awareness and adaptive coping strategies. This means learning to recognize early signs of stress in your body and having a toolkit of healthy responses rather than defaulting to stress-increasing behaviors like excessive caffeine, alcohol, or emotional eating. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that people who are aware of their stress levels and have multiple coping strategies available are significantly more resilient and have better long-term health outcomes. This isn't about eliminating stress from your life. That's neither possible nor healthy, but about responding to stress in ways that minimize its harmful effects. The most effective approach involves what psychologists call stress inoculation, gradually building your capacity to handle stress through practice with smaller challenges while maintaining healthy coping habits. This might mean using deep breathing during traffic jams, taking short walk breaks during stressful workdays, or practicing mindfulness when you feel overwhelmed. What makes all these habits particularly powerful is their cumulative and synergistic effects. Research consistently shows that people who practice multiple stress management techniques get benefits that are greater than the sum of their parts. Your deep breathing practice makes your meditation more effective. Your exercise improves your sleep quality, your social connections support all your other healthy habits, and so on. The beautiful truth emerging from decades of research is that protecting your brain from stroke isn't about dramatic interventions or expensive treatments. It's about consistent, daily habits that reduce stress while supporting your overall health and well-being. Every deep breath you take, every moment you spend in nature, every expression of gratitude, and every night of quality sleep is an investment in your brain's long-term health and resilience. As we conclude our time together, remember that implementing these habits doesn't have to be overwhelming. Start with one or two that resonate most with you. Practice them consistently for a few weeks until they feel natural. Then gradually add others. Research shows that sustainable change happens through small, consistent actions rather than dramatic overhauls. Your brain is remarkably adaptable and responsive to positive changes at any age. The neuroplasticity research is clear. Even small improvements in stress management can create meaningful changes in your brain's structure and function within weeks. Every healthy choice you make is literally rewiring your brain for better stress resilience and stroke protection. Take a moment right now to choose one habit you'll start today. Whether it's 5 minutes of deep breathing, a short walk outside, or writing down 3 things you're grateful for, you're taking a concrete step toward protecting one of your most precious assets. Your future self and your brain will thank you for the investment.